Oh my God, I genuinely think you rewired my brain, like with that whole moment. Because it was just like, oh, I can be a female athlete and not take any
and fight for things that matter.
Yeah. Thank you. And I love that the order is coffee grinding or career, and then last, equal pay. Yes. Welcome back to the recap show and happy 2026.
Wow.
We made it. Year.
A new year.
Opportunities.
New us.
Same us.
Same us.
I think we said that literally before in January. But I'm a big reborn, rebirth kind of girl. So it suits me every year. What are you looking forward to? 2 retired women just, I don't know, sitting on the beach with our bucket hats. Maybe start fishing. I don't know. Is that what retired people do?
Fishing?
Yeah,
bucket
you know, the
hats?
people who sit there
that just have time?
Fish off the dock or something.
I think people call it the slow life.
I don't know about that.
I don't think we're made for the slow life.
Well, what are we made for?
We are made for a whole new year of TRS.
True.
Yeah.
That sounds hard.
More conversations, new guests. Who knows what this year has in store for us?
Actually, that sounds amazing.
I love it. I love the idea of a new year.
I miss football.
Oh.
Already.
I have missed football for a long time.
But rest assured, we play at our house every single night. It is also, it's football, but it's also monkey in the middle, also known as Bob in the middle. But Bob, I do call her my monkey. And Tobin and I just stand on the opposite sides of the living room and just keep it away from Bob, which seems really mean when I'm saying it out loud.
It's really hard, though. Bob's a great footballer.
Bob's a great defender.
Yeah.
We are so excited. We have an amazing episode for you to kick off the year. Exciting new guests, Blake Morgan
and Caroline Hendershot,
who are hosts of Well Played, the podcast. We actually had a chance to meet them last year, and we brought them into LA and have a wonderful conversation in store for you all.
Yeah, they're so cool.
Let's bring them in.
Welcome, Blake and Caroline.
Yay! Welcome to TRS.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you so much for your laborious travels all the way in. We are very grateful. Here's my question.
Yeah.
How did you get to sports? Are we here sitting with retired athletes?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Well, kind of.
Retired at 14?
Yeah, everyone's a retired athlete if you just go far enough
Right,
back.
right.
You just got to peel the onion back when you're 3.
Trampoline. You go first.
I go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so my sports story is that I was a competitive dancer and a travel soccer player at the same time. And it's kind of crazy. So I stopped my sports career at 14, which is when a lot of girls honestly drop out of sports, which is unfortunate, because it was just literally a conflict of schedule. Because when you're dance is an all year round sport. You can't.
Which I did not know.
Yeah, because it's you spend the fall training, getting your body right, and then you also spend the winter learning choreography. Spring comes around, you go to your dance competitions, blah, blah, blah. Summer intensive. It's pretty intense. And then with soccer, it was just fall, spring, but I kept missing practice because I had to be at the studio. And when you're at the dance studio, it's literally 5 days a week. You're there for hours. I barely saw my family. I feel I was doing homework
giving
there.
step up vibes.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, wait. So at 14, you decided, I'm just going to quit both.
Well, here's the thing. I was not for me.
I can't choose.
Honestly, it probably would have been easier if I did it that way. I chose to quit soccer first. I don't really know why.
Ouch.
I think it was just because dance felt more central to what I was doing at the time, so that I could prioritize dance. But then
You are very artsy.
Yeah, but then I don't know, it's kind of like Dance Moms vibes where it was just a little too cliquey for me. I wasn't the most girly girl. I felt there was an element of favoritism that I wasn't sure how to confront too. So my teachers would be mean to me when we would go across the floor and I wouldn't know how to act about it. And so I just was I'm going to quit. I quit in the middle of the year. And none of the adults, my mom and my dad, I'm the 5th child. I'm the youngest.
Ooh.
So it's my parents are kind of just girl, do whatever you want. I don't really care anymore.
They're she's alive.
Yeah, my parents weren't athletes either. So they're just okay, you want to quit? Sure, do it. And so I did. And then I was in my high school dance team, but that was it. I stopped competing.
But you have now come back to sports, which is a very sweet, I think, full circle moment because it's
with Well Played, it's I'm healing my inner child because I feel I really disengaged with sports because I felt you're not an athlete anymore. Why do you think you have a right to engage with sports at all?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
but if you have a body,
you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I do have a body, you know?
And that body's
I do.
Okay, really quick,
Yeah.
because I know we're going to get to you. Did you feel really like in youth dance that you got, it's like really aesthetic, like really superficial, like you got judged for how you look?
Honestly, yeah. And I actually have a memory going back to literally like the first competition. They call it companies, like a dance company. I remember being 9 years old. I was with girls who are like a year younger than me, and they're all so much smaller. I'm a tall person, and I was really tall as like a 9-year-old. I don't know. And I remember feeling like I stuck out so much compared to them. And the older girls came into our room to watch our competition dance to like see how we were doing. And they were like, oh my God, the little ones are so cute.
The little ones are so cute. How rude.
I know. And I was like, hey guys. So I remember feeling like
that's a trauma.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Me and my therapist talk about little T trauma and big T traumas.
yes.
What would you say that is a big T or a little T?
I mean, I remembered it.
It's kind of big. It's
was
giving big T.
It's
giving big T. Yeah.
And so definitely felt judged like body wise. And I mean,
it's also so hard because I felt like that's all throughout elementary school, being the tallest girl in class all the time and like taller than all the boys. And like, okay, sorry that like you guys don't hit puberty until you're in college. Like, what the hell? But like that was always really hard because I was like, why am I towering over everybody?
Yeah. And as you get older with dance too, because like my studio is pre-professional, so it's like the idea is you spend all this time at the studio when you're a teenager to like then go on to Broadway or whatever you want to do. So it's like obviously the bodies you see on Broadway and in ballet especially like are very thin, very white, like, and I knew I was not going to be able to compete with that. And my feet also, I started point, you know, like ballet. My feet, I have no arches. I can't get on those boxes.
That's tough.
And that genuinely foot trauma. Little T foot trauma. So I was like, how am I supposed to get on them? The hell?
Okay, well, in my recent retirement,
Yes.
I have been going to hip hop dance class.
We love that.
And I will tell you that my body is so lanky. So I'm not tall. I think I'm like exactly average American woman height, you know? But when I'm dancing, like everyone's lower than me. Yeah. And I'm like, why are my limbs so long?
Yeah.
Do
It's all
have
the knees.
long limbs.
Yeah. I felt this. I always was so bad at hip hop, and I think it's because I wasn't getting low enough. You gotta
my
get
teacher
low.
was telling me to just work on getting a little Okay.
Wait, that's so fun though.
Overshare,
Great
but yeah.
feedback. No, I love that. I love that. Get lower. Get lower.
Get lower.
Everyone get lower. Yes, I feel like my entire family played sports in college. Like, kind of going to college without sports like wasn't really an option. Not in like a bad way, but it was just like that's what everyone did. So like, okay, we're gonna do that. Like my dad, similar to your dad, played football. Mine at the Naval Academy, and my mom played college athletics. My sister did, my brother did, my other sister did. My sister actually rowed at the London Olympics. So we went and like watched her there. I was like, oh, that looks horrific. I'm never going to row. And then I rowed. Yeah, that's the toughest sport.
That was crazy. But I went to Michigan to row. And then like kind of the only like career for rowing after college is like national team and then trying to make the Olympics. Saw my sister do that. And I was like, that looks really hard. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And was like, sports has like been my life, so I can't really like it wasn't an option to me of like, oh, I'm just gonna like not be in sports anymore because it's been my whole background. So then I just went into sports, and that's kind of how we ended up here. Which is
Do you
lovely.
still play sports?
So no, because I'm so toxically competitive that I think if I were to join like a fun, like, you know, like an after work volleyball league or something, I think one of two things would happen. I would probably like break someone's nose accidentally, like running into them to try to like get the ball for myself. Or B, I would, which is one of my biggest fears, is like tear my Achilles or like my ACL as an adult because I'm trying too hard in my like post-work league. And I'm like, no, that's so embarrassing. So no, I won't let myself do that. But I will, I discovered Pilates like a year ago. That rocks your world.
Yeah. It does.
I've actually never felt weaker in my life. So very humbling. But yeah, I'll do that. I like to run, but like that's really it.
I'm just feeling like you need to play basketball.
I was thinking the same thing. Well, I was thinking just sports. And like, I wanted to see you compete.
I was thinking
Scary,
basketball. And the reason is because when I very infrequently play basketball, I'm way too aggressive because soccer, you're allowed to do a lot more. Totally. So it's hard for me to know like what's a foul and what's not. Of course. And so I just like completely cheat.
Yeah, I
and like
love that.
foul and like
Yeah.
throw people around. And like in soccer, like I avoid contact. Like I
You're
don't even
like, no. I don't
I
want
like
to
stay on my feet, right?
Yeah.
And it's really fun.
Well, famously in 6th grade, when I think that's when I like tapped out of basketball, YMCA basketball, I used to just like back my ass up into people. And one of my best friend's dads literally was like, you're just literally straight up being like, that's the Hendy booty, because my last name's Hendershot. And he'd be like, you really just giving him the Hendy booty. And I was like, well, yeah, that's like my move. I just literally forcibly like backed up the bus.
I think that's basketball.
No, totally though. Like, sorry, I was just doing it correctly.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was using my
wasn't
body
an
in the way I was
insult.
supposed to.
Yeah.
Oh, another little T.
Yeah, a little T. A little T. There it is. Rearing its ugly head again. This is like just a therapy session.
That's usually what happens. Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, sports.
Love that.
Yeah.
So now we're in the like here and now of your version of sports, which is sports media at a different, like through a different lens than traditional sports media and how we've grown up, which is just kind of this men's sports landscape and behemoth. Talk to us what you've experienced. You both cover men's and women's sports through your lenses. Tell us like some of the experiences of doing this today.
You start.
I also, so like we have our podcast obviously, but I also work for an NFL team. And so I think that while it's definitely changing and has gotten better of like women in working in the NFL, like a sport that they obviously haven't played, it's always hilarious to me. Like my dad, he means so well when he says this, but he will say, like he'll be asking me questions about like, oh, well, what team is so-and-so on? And who's the coach of the 49ers again? And blah, 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 blah. And I'll like tell him all of these answers. And then he'll be like, wow, you know so much. And I'm like, thanks, it is my job. Like, I do kind of have to know these things.
Yeah.
But like,
I hate it, but I think we like always have to make a little room for our dads.
no, yeah, I know. No,
Really
it's like,
I really hate that, but it's your
yes.
dad.
No,
Yeah.
no, literally, I'm like, Dad, don't tell anyone else that. But like, it's okay. But yeah, it's okay. But. And like I know he means it in like a nice way, but I'm just like, well, yeah, duh. I have to know these things. This is literally what I cover. But I think it's just interesting because we were talking about Mina Kimes earlier and how people love to come for her neck on like Twitter because they're like, you've never played this sport, blah, 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 blah. And then it's like, guys, you have literal future Hall of Famers sitting next to her on ESPN being like, yeah, she's right. And she taught me that. Or like, she explains that so perfectly. I didn't realize that. And so it's just like, I feel like while there's definitely has been growth in that area, the difference of like, men versus women, it's more so just like not even like the reporting on the actual sports. It's like the space in which women can like occupy in the sports media landscape. I think that is just like, obviously it's different games and like sometimes you've never played them, but I just think like when you know your you know your
I think on the consumer side too, it's just like women, at least for our audience, like the Skims audience, like we finally feel like there's a place for our audience to like engage with sports in a way that actually speaks to them and isn't so like patronizing. I think again, like that's kind of why I wasn't into sports for so long because my parents were separated. So my dad, I was never like an NFL girly on Sundays watching the Jets play. I mean, I should say they lose, but you know, so now it's like kind of also with that childhood trauma healing, it's also like, whoa, I feel like I can actually talk to somebody who works in sports and ask her the questions that like everybody at home has. And a lot of my friends have, like a lot of my girlfriends have, but are too scared to ask. And like, I'm so down to be number one dummy asking the questions, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're not dumb questions. It's just like nobody has ever explained it to us before.
Well, because Brad and Chad, who like are assholes, will sit on their couch and they'll be like, you're not a fan. You don't even know the second baseman's middle name.
Literally.
And you're like, go yourself, Brad.
Yes. And also
Respectfully. Actually, disrespectfully, Brad.
I also, the last thing I'll say is just like, I think now it's finally acceptable to be a more casual fan of sports and especially like of men's sports.
Yeah.
I think that's really where it all originates from, like all the negativity in sport.
Yeah,
is just
the
like
negativity.
because what you're saying is like the male-dominated behemoth. It's what it was, and so it's like why there are casual casual fans of literally everything, like
Everything
music,
else, yeah.
books,
Why can't you be a casual sports fan?
art, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I think this is just finally a moment where we feel like we can embrace those casual fans. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I love what you all are doing, and I feel like the platform that you're doing on it makes sense. I mean, obviously, it being on the Skim, where you know your audience, women's lifestyle, and this is a huge opportunity to actually actually speak exactly to that audience, because what I found is when women are on traditional men's sports platforms, obviously the toxicity is just insane, right? But when we create these new spaces where we actually get to speak about sports in the way that we understand in our language and our culture, they sound a lot different. You know, we're not narrating sports in the same way. And I think this is what we're equally as passionate about, is narrating sports through our own lens.
100%.
And I think that's a powerful perspective, because there was a few years ago, Kristen's heard me say this 1,000 times, but a few years ago, Nickelodeon got the rights to the Super Bowl. And it was like, for the first time, they were narrating sports to be consumed by kids, you know, to address an audience, speak to them, do the graphics like, you know, the guts or whatever of Nickelodeon. The slime. But like, that's the same thing when we think about gal culture, which is kind of the lens that we create from. Which is like, if you're watching the NFL, like, how would you consume the NFL? It's completely different than Chad.
Yes.
You know?
And Brad.
And I feel like, you know, Taylor Swift, because you're a Swiftie, like, actually opened up the lens, like,
100%.
how would Taylor Swift narrate sports? Because that's the narration that we would want to hear.
It's freaky
right?
hearing you talk about the Nickelodeon thing, because it's like, oh yeah, obviously we want kids to be able to understand sports in a way that speaks to them. But it's like, once we make it about women, people like lose their
They're like, stop showing Taylor Swift.
No, sports is men.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, honestly, it feels like very territorial. Of like, this is our space.
Exactly.
We give up. So we give up everything else. You cannot have football. And it's like,
I appreciate
relax?
that you guys are in that space, because for us, we're like, all right, if you want that space, we got a whole section that we're ready to build and create and speak on. But there are folks that need to go in the room, because it's equally as important to narrate, you know, a space in a different way, so that people can feel like they belong. Because women freaking love the NFL.
My mom could like literally crush my dad in any kind of like fantasy football that they do. Like growing up, it was. My mom actually used to be like, you can create your own, but I will hijack it if I lose mine, because I need to play and beat like so and so in this league. And my dad would be like, okay,
Okay, really fast.
Yeah.
So I have the same experience in that, like, I never felt like traditional male sports were for me. So that's why I just have like absolutely no concept.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here and I'm feeling quite inspired, and I'm thinking, this is the type of content that would get me interested. So I have a couple of NFL questions.
yes. Oh my gosh, you got your girl.
No, it's not facts.
No,
it's convince me of the virtue, because I have some big problems with it. So my first question is, do you think women should play American football?
Like with tackling?
Because the exact same way.
Or in whatever way?
I actually think, why not? And honestly, because flag football is now expanding into college and like collegiate levels, where I think within the next like 5 years, like women's flag football will be everywhere that if it isn't already there already.
Could be in the Olympics.
It could be in the Olympics. Like it's blowing up crazy right now. And I think that's even more beneficial for like the youth sport side of it, of like just let women get involved, or like young girls get involved. I do think that they could easily play, because you know what, to me it's very similar to rugby, and I actually think that a lot of like rugby players would be even better football players if they like opened up an NFL for women, because of the way that they tackle. I've actually heard this argument a ton, where
More technical.
it's way more technical, because you don't have the padding and like a helmet on. You don't tackle like head first. You're very like, technical about how you're doing it. So I actually think that they would be really good at it.
Isn't it insane, though, to think that the number one sport in our country, women, I know that we've gotten a lot of backlash. There are women's football leagues.
Yes.
But just like, I cannot believe that.
Well, you know what I always love to blow people's minds with? You know why, I guess like not in this exact era of college football anymore, but you know why college football teams used to love the women's rowing program? Because we balanced them out with Title IX.
Yeah, of course.
Because we have the biggest roster, and we use the most money because our boats cost the most. So literally, I've talked to college coaches before that are like, oh, I love our rowing team. I actually let them use our weightlifting room. And I'm like, oh, you're so generous.
You're so benevolent.
So I was like, wow, how kind of you. I know it's all for your motive.
Well, just one follow-up before I get to my main course.
Yes.
So do we like the idea of women playing tackle football? Like, do we like that?
Yeah, why not?
You do? Okay, I like that answer. You do. Okay, because my big qualm with it is, a lot of times I hear it's like, oh, well, women can play like flag or, and it's like, well, if we can't put our bodies through this, then my question is why should men?
Yeah.
Or what
good question.
about a women's body can't be tackled?
Yeah.
So then it just begs the question like, well, why isn't there a league? Like,
I
what are we
love
doing
when
to
you do
support
this.
Totally.
You're just speaking.
You should just
truth
master
really
classes.
well.
No, I'm actually exploring here because I'm like, could I open my heart? No. Could I open my heart to this? Okay. So what about head injuries and aggression?
Like what aggression in what way?
Like
That we're cheering for.
Yeah.
like it's sort of barbaric.
Oh, for sure.
And like I do think like you sort of already alluded to it, like all of the pads and stuff make it even worse. So it's sort of like disrespectful to the body in a way.
Yeah, totally. I get that. But wouldn't you, like, I guess you could make that argument for any sport because, well, I guess any like contact sport, but also not because like rowing, for example, talk about disrespecting your body. Holy
Ew. She showed me
It's
a picture of
actually
her-
just testing the limits.
Yeah, yeah. It actually said, how far can you push your body until you physically pass out? Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
it's
so
a
it's
kind
like,
of a sliding scope.
yeah, so it's like
'cause
you
all
could
this
kind
danger.
of, yes, you can kind of, like, for example, in college, I had a cyst in my back. And I'm sure you guys have cysts in your body that you don't even know of because like they're in your, it's from overuse. So it's like, I'm sure your knees and like whatever have a bunch
Oh,
of.
we're doing great.
Yeah, actually, I'm sprain. But like I had to get a steroid shot for it. I couldn't row for like 6 months because of it. And it's like, okay, so in a way you are also disrespecting your
right.
body because
That's
I
a
was
great
like,
point.
and also, as you know, as every toxic athlete who is very competitive does, I'm like, I'm fine. I'll figure it out. Like, I'll row through it.
But are
like,
we getting past this in sports?
Like,
That's a culture
like
thing.
we're
Maybe to
talking
a
about like
degree.
gladiators and like NFL players, right? Like
Yeah.
this is kind of like killing each other on this like spectacle for all of us to cheer for. But like, is sports moving into an era where it's like not into that?
Yes and no.
I don't know. The first thing I thought about was just like recently on our show, we've been talking about, who was it, the Ravens guy? We just talked about it, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Injured, but still playing.
Oh yeah. Well, he's fine.
That's what I mean. So like this player on the Ravens has this injury.
Hamstring injury.
And Caroline told me.
I was like, he's playing injured because he notoriously like likes to run the football when there's no option of throwing it, and he's not doing
And that could just be like an isolated NFL thing. But then also we've been having so many women athletes on the show recently. We had Amanda Anisimova on, the women's tennis player, and this is like different. It's physical health and mental health, but still it's like an obstacle where she decided to like take a break from tennis to take care of her mental health because she's like, I'm burnt out, I can't do it. And I know it's different.
So like yes and no.
they're the same.
You know?
I think they're the same.
No, but like yes,
Yeah.
she's deciding like. Yes, sports are also going away from it, but also at the same time, no. Because at the same time, like
this is very philosophical.
I think women's sports is definitely, in my opinion,
Leading the
I think
way.
they're leading
Yeah.
the way.
And I
For
think-
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well,
in these types of
hello.
conversations,
Who's surprised?
you know.
No one. No one surprises.
Go ahead.
No, but I actually think you make a really good point because when I think about American football, I think about like almost like intentional injury.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm going to tackle you to tear you down,
Yeah.
like in every way, versus what you're talking about is like, we're all dancing on this line of like, when do you push too hard?
Yeah.
When do you create a boundary? When are you healthy? What does it mean to be well? Like that's
And
just,
I feel like athletes at their core are the worst at setting boundaries because it's always a fine line of like, how much more can I push myself? How much better can I get?
and
you're
that's a
applauded for
toxic,
it.
that's
You
a
know?
toxic culture that we're
Completely.
saying the
That's
same
toxic.
thing.
Like, you
Yeah.
can still be like, oh, that player's soft.
Right. No,
Like,
literally.
what?
And you wonder why we're literally all in therapy. Like,
And you know what? I think that's part of why I think like NFL is worse in my mind because like I do think women are having these conversations and pushing the boundaries and trying to stand up. Whereas like the culture, it's not the game actually. Like
Yeah.
I'm still spitballing. Maybe it's not the game, but maybe it's not that there's enough representation and voices to be really having the hard conversations
challenging,
about like brain injury and like what that looks like. Because when I think about drawing the line, it does come down to like brain injury. It comes down to like science that has said that like a lot of people leave in a way that they weren't aware of. And then it's like people are getting put into the game from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and maybe this is their one way out. And then they leave the game with a lot of money, but a head injury, and they can't remember. And it's like, what
They
is
can't
this?
remember how much money they have.
And then they lost it all to their uncle because they had no brain. And like that is like the infrastructure that scares me. But I am hearing an openness to think that it's actually not the sport itself, but it's the same exact thing that we deal with in women's sports, which is like dealing or creating a culture that's able to evolve and challenge those norms.
Evolve is a great word. And be curious, you know. So I guess this begs the question, what do you all like about men's sports?
That's a really good question.
What do you like about men's sports? Because you really love football. Like, you're the football girl.
It's crazy. I think maybe a little part of it is because like I never got to play it. So like a part of it for me is always like okay, I will say I did play one Powder Puff game, homecoming weekend, and let me tell you,
You were probably awesome.
I mossed the out of some people. Oh my God.
What's it called? The hammy ass?
Yeah. It was so much fun. And it was just so different than anything I had ever played before. So I think part of it for me is like maybe a little bit of like FOMO.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wish that like I could have done that. But also just for me, there's so much that goes into, I did see someone compare it to musical theater. And you know what? They're not wrong because they do all have matching uniforms.
Show tunes.
They run choreography.
They
play,
really do.
Play design. Yeah. And so I really just love the whole production of it. I think people get so creative on like how they can fool a defense. I think defenses are so complex. I actually don't understand how quickly they like get rid of the ball while like people are running straight at them. I know I would be horrific at that. So I think a little bit of it for me is like FOMO and just liking to see the athleticism on display.
I love that.
Mine has nothing to do with the physicality, honestly. Because when I was listening to you talk, I was like, well, women's sports does, a lot of work around defense and all that stuff. To me, it's like the opportunity to see like the layers be peeled back on these male athletes, because kind of like you were saying, it is like their one time where they can really show emotion. And sometimes it's not the emotion we want. Like sometimes it's really angry and like they spit on each other and are disrespectful.
There has been multiple spit gates.
Disgusting. But it's like in those post-game press conferences, I don't know. And
when they're like holding their daughter.
They really know. They know what they're doing.
They're like, who are you?
Yeah. Like when Steph Curry's daughter was on the mic. What are you guys remembering?
She just got my joke.
Yeah, I got it a little late.
I was like, Kristen's not in first.
She said, okay. No, but yeah, I think it's just...
I was even... One thing we talked about on our show, so random. It's about golf. Scotty Scheffler. I didn't know who that man was.
I mean, you gotta love Scotty.
Like, what did he say a couple months ago where he was just like, none of this really matters?
Yes. Oh, God, I love him. Sorry.
It's like also the unassuming athlete.
Yes.
Like, right?
Oh, yes.
And he's so talented and he's like very humble. And he's like, listen, at the end of the day, none of this matters if I'm not a good father and husband to my son and my wife. He was like, family is everything. And like this is great. I'm happy when I win a tournament, but at the end of the day, I go home to my family.
I mean, he's not getting hit in the head every day with a golf ball. So.
Correct. I mean, that is true. Hopefully
and also
not.
it's like, I don't want it to sound like, sometimes the bar is really low with men. So it's like,
totally.
I'm glad, like women say shit like that all the time and it's like, it's expected.
Yeah. Great point.
My gosh.
But it's just the start, again, the evolution.
Yeah.
Well, this is... I was planning on asking you, like, well, what do you like about men? But I think you're kind of provoking a lot here with me in a great way.
I was gonna say, positive or negative connotation?
We are open.
Okay, good.
Well, yeah.
Slightly cracked.
But the idea that it's like there's this infrastructure, it is happening, it is affecting culture, it is affecting families and relationships, and for us to just be like, don't like it, not going to look at it. I don't know. I want
to hear from them though. Like I want to hear like men's sports from an angle that.
But that's exactly why I'm being inspired.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I think, too, is just, like, so exciting about, like, where this is going is, like, I do think there were plenty of female fans before Taylor Swift like started dating Travis Kelce and appearing to the games. There were plenty. But I feel like now they're being spotlighted in a different way that's healthier and like and more accepted and excited. And like now women feel like they almost have, which sounds so dumb, but like they have permission to be a football fan.
That's what exactly.
And now you see like little girls being like, Dad, turn on the football game. Like I want to watch with you because I want to I want to see Taylor Swift. And it's like, you know what? If that's why she wants to watch, shut the hell up and let her watch. Like she's just excited to be there. And it's a bonding thing.
And I know you love Taylor Swift, but like, would it be so hard for her to go to an NWSL game?
No, dead ass.
No,
you know what I mean? It's really not. Or a WNBA game.
Just throwing out Stanford.
I know she's Taylor Swift, but like, come on, what do you represent?
Yeah,
like, I know that's your guy.
You know what?
But like, we're your girls.
I think I could see it happening with the Mahomes squad.
That's
I think
so true.
They're very fun. They're very close besties.
But that's also like a really cool pathway too. Is like on the flip side, men's sports becoming like men athletes becoming interested in women's sports,
and like
kind of also steers
investing.
One other thing I did want to mention, because you guys were talking about like the NFL, just sports in general having such an impact on society, but especially the NFL. It is like probably the most watched sport in America. Like 2 stories we did within the last year that I really love to like highlight to show like what our show is about, because they're the conversations that you don't hear on mainstream media. One, Howie Roseman, GM of the Eagles.
Yes.
He said earlier this year, like, we will not consider a player who has a history of domestic violence. And to us, we were like, yeah, duh. Bare minimum.
Totally.
Literally. And so that's what I mean. It's like having highlighting something like that, which like ESPN would never even talk about.
Or like they would blip over. Where they're like, oh, he said this. Good for him.
It's like, no,
and
we
then
need to pause on that and talk about why it's important that he said it, and also talk about like, why does he even have to say it in the first place.
And like the ramifications of like what that means for like setting a precedent.
Exactly. And these have rippling effects. And then also another story we did was every year the NFL's like Players Association releases report cards for each of the teams, like rank, you know what I mean, each of the teams.
Yeah.
And
they're very different aspects of the team. So like they can rank the locker room, the ownership, the facilities, the food, all of that.
Yeah.
And
it's public?
Yeah.
Oh, we need to do that.
I think we do have something similar.
Yeah. I remember we talked about the fact that the Bengals got an F rating in like treatment of families. And like what is the family really when the football player is on the field? It's like always the mom and the kids. And it's like they don't even have a warm place for the mom to like breastfeed on the sideline, something like that. Or like for their kids to even just like sit and be warm and watch the game.
Yeah, like some teams will provide daycare and all of this different stuff for families. And so it's so interesting that like, okay, make that part of the conversation. That is a big factor.
Again, if you see like the NFL doing it, like what is stopping other leagues from adopting it, for example? Or even like
other companies.
We see we see the inverse with like, I don't know, Unrivaled, like treating their players fairly and like how that can affect other leagues. And so it's all like symbiotic. And that's, I guess, kind of a reason why you should maybe care about men's sports, but not even men's sports, but just like about the culture more so.
Yeah, because like unfortunately, sometimes it does take the giant behemoth to like do something to then have everyone else be like, shoot, they just set a new standard and we have no choice but to follow it. But sometimes that can be a good thing for everyone else. Because like sometimes it's like, okay, you should have been doing this all along, but it's like, okay, it's better now than never. So, you know, like, take it where you can get it sometimes, but like, I appreciate that is a literal grade on the report card, and some owners are more worried about the ownership grade than they are about the family care grade. They're like, we'll fix that, but like, don't grade me.
We're not. Yeah.
Well, thank you for what you do to bring light to the things that maybe nobody else is. It has been a joy to have you. But before I wrap, she kept giving me the rap sign. Before I wrap, I just wanted to know, why did you want to come on the recap show?
The gasps. Well, when we chit-chatted at the NWSL championships, I almost entered the room going, hello! Thank God I didn't, because you guys were literally being interviewed and I was like, hello.
And it's like, not about you, babe.
Yes.
Fully about them.
Classic youngest child syndrome. I'm like, no, the world revolves around me. And I don't know, like, we had so much fun with you guys. It legitimately felt like we had known you for years.
We also had Tobin on the podcast when she retired.
Yes.
Which was like the first meeting point. And then, yes, we did see you guys in San Jose. And I think what really got me was when we started talking about coffee grinding. I was like, I just feel like I'm talking to someone who gets me. It was coffee grinding. That's
And
it.
also,
That
like
was
the
so
whole
fun.
interview, we were just like, you guys were like, this is going to be terrible. We don't like having fun. The answers are not going to be good.
And then I was like-
and then we cackled for like 25 minutes. It was hilarious.
And also, you have a very storied career that we love and respect so much, which is why we wanted to come on the show.
Also,
That
like,
too,
not
that
for
too.
nothing, I just feel like sometimes it gets swept under the rug of like how, how we talk, we were just talking about like the giant behemoth, like setting a new standard. Like you guys were so much part of that with the equal pay movement. And like, I don't think that you will ever get enough credit that you actually deserve, because that set such a new standard for women's sports. Like you quite literally had the entire world looking at you guys being like they're not backing down and they're being really passionate about this. And guess what? They have all the proof to back it up. Like there's no way we can circumvent this. And everyone who was like trying to tell you no just looked like a fool. And it was
She held back there.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I was like, don't swear. It just looked like a fool. And it was just like, oh my God, I genuinely think you rewired my brain. Like with that whole moment.
For
Because
sure.
it was just like, oh, I can be a female athlete and not take any.
And fight for things that matter.
Thank you. And I love that the order is coffee grinding or career, and then last, equal pay.
Dry January doesn't mean giving up cocktails. It just means finding better options. I didn't want to lose that end of day ritual. I just wanted something that actually made me feel good the next morning. That's why RK has been my go-to. RK makes alcohol-free versions of whiskey, tequila, gin, rum, vodka, and more. With 0 alcohol, 0 sugar, and 0 calories. What really sets it apart is their patented warm molecule, which delivers that familiar burn you expect from real liquor without any alcohol at all. I tried their whiskey and made an old-fashioned, and it was honestly amazing. The taste, the aroma, and even the little bite. I reach for RK on weeknights at social events and anytime I want the unwind moment without overthinking it. It works for cocktails, mocktails, or sipping straight. And it's safe for anyone avoiding alcohol for health, pregnancy, recovery, or lifestyle reasons. RK is currently offering private investment opportunities as it expands towards a future NASDAQ listing. So join investors, influencers, and millions of fans who are joining the RK Zero Proof revolution. If you want all the flavor and none of the alcohol, check out RK Zero Proof, your favorite cocktails made non-alcoholic. Available at Walmart, Amazon, or rkbeverages.com. That's ARKAY beverages.com.
Now we're getting into the community roast, and for this roast, I have my service animal here, just in case it gets a little too roasty.
I don't know why we're kicking off a new year by remembering all the things in the past that people didn't like about us.
I don't see it like that.
I know. You think it's like getting out all of your angst by like re-roasting.
It's called emotional releasing, and these people like to emotionally release on the internet.
You like to emotionally release in your journal.
I like having a response.
All right, let's do it.
Let's clap back.
I'll go first.
Okay, great.
Oh, this is about the live show.
Oh.
Is Tobin drunk?
Tobin was not drunk, but I'm glad that my energy was so loosey-goosey. That's hard to do for performing.
This was an online comment, but I'm wondering if this
They were
person
there.
got the real deal. For all of you who weren't there, Tobin got a lot cut from her monologue.
You have to be there. Next time there's a live show, you got to be there. Okay. Loving this interview. One thing I would suggest
Oh, no.
already,
Oh,
keep
no.
your suggestions to yourself. One
You
thing
tried.
One thing I would suggest is shutting up. No, I'm just kidding. One thing I would suggest is bringing in male guest. Not a male guest, bringing in male guest.
Male guest? That's
male
the perfect way to talk about a man.
Especially men that are supportive and on board in expanding women's sports. Because this is exactly what we need. More men to give their opinions of us.
You know what? I don't feel that comment is a roast. I find that feedback
to roast.
kind and acceptable, and men are not completely vetoed from TRS. I just haven't found one that's up to my standard.
I love it.
But I am very open.
I can't wait for our first lesbian man on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, this is good. I like
Is it a compliment?
No, but I think you're gonna enjoy it. Ready?
Okay.
Is this show only for them? ? No guess? ? Boring.
Wait. What's the punctuation after boring? I must know.
There's none. Oh. Well, first off, you stayed long enough to write out all of this.
Wait, is this show only for us?
I guess they need to go back to school.
You're so mean. You love roasting the roasters.
I mean, please.
Well, I guess I like to take this moment to contemplate constructive criticism. Is the show only for us? You know what I will say? Tobin and I have so much fun on the show that like it's not that different from the rest of our life. And if no one watched it, I would still have to decide. I think I might still come down here into the studio just like every once in a while when Tobin needs to rant.
Honestly, you're the best guest yet.
Thank you.
Yeah, there is nobody that I found that is more interesting, more articulate, more beautiful than you.
You are the sweetest. This is my type of roast. Also, I will add that when we first came out with the show, it said hosted by Tobin Heath, guest starring Christen Press. So I am a guest.
That's true. You're clearly not a Reimaginer.
What? That guy?
This person.
I was like, how am I not a Reimaginer?
This person.
Wait, go back to when you said I was beautiful.